we'd like to apologize for any technical problems that we just had, but for some reason, the computer, of which name I will not give because obviously it's a problem computer at this moment, locked up on me. So I have no idea why that happened. But thanks to my...
So your computer got constipated.
Thanks to my younger sister, Amy Foster, who let me know that it was happening.
Okay.
I realized that it was locked up. So apparently it's working now. So thank you very much.
Good. I'm glad we're back.
I'm glad we're back, too.
Wonder what they missed.
Well, I don't know.
Well, actually, they missed T-ball. They missed soccer. You're coaching soccer.
We don't want to go back.
And we don't want to go back to T-ball.
That's called field time.
Yeah. That's stretch it on out there. But anyway, I'm glad we're back on the air.
And I'm very bad. I'm sitting here and I'm texting while we're doing this thing. But had to thank her. So thank you, Amy. Appreciate it.
Has anybody heard from Matt Reagan? I'm sure he is.
He's on pins and needles.
Yeah.
Now, my understanding is that Saturday is the day they're looking for.
Right.
Yeah. So in that third round.
And then also he's a highly projected free agent.
Right.
You know, he's in the top of the free agent, which might not be the worst way to go.
Now, we are talking about Bruno Reagan,
right,
the son of Mac Reagan, who's the Columbia Parks and Recreation Director.
Bruno played guard and center at Vanderbilt.
Played basically anywhere they wanted him to go, he could. But
and he was number one rated center this past season.
Yeah.
In the SEC.
Yeah, and that wasn't his normal position. You know,
so Bruno's a beast.
He's a beast, and he's a very nice person.
Oh, yeah.
That's the good thing about it. That whole Reagan family is just awesome. So,
well, we're just wishing
we're thinking about him.
And we're following.
Oh yeah.
What happens?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wish him well. Wish him well. You got another message there, Dan.
Yeah.
You remember back when Shaq got drafted and we were out at the golf course.
Oh yeah.
And that
was the fourth round.
That got carried all the way around.
Sure did.
Sure did.
Real quick. So that was exciting. Because everybody was kind of keeping an eye on what was going on with the draft, and then all of a sudden, boom, he was in the fourth round.
And it has been successful ever since.
Yep.
2 Super Bowl rings, of which most people would treasure just one Super Bowl ring.
That's Dan Marino.
Yeah.
No, I really don't want to ask Dan Marino.
There's a lot of players in the NFL that never got a Super Bowl ring.
Right.
Even some that played for several different teams over their career still never got a Super Bowl ring.
Yep.
Some very famous names
never got
that we know never got a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah. I'm one of them.
Let me take this.
All right, go ahead.
Hello. I know.
Okay, I don't think I'll be back in time to put the pizza in.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, let me tell you.
Okay.
The oven's preheated. The pizza's on the pan in the refrigerator. Just take it out.
Okay. Okay, but we're not going to worry about that right now.
Okay, well, I won't be back so in time, I'm sure. So.
Not a problem. I appreciate that. Okay, bye. Oh, goodness gracious.
So the wife is going to pick up the daughter?
Yes, and
Okay.
She is. See, this was a strange thing. My daughter flying back from Los Angeles, okay, and my son was taking off today to go to a job elsewhere. I won't say where.
All right.
With his business. So my daughter met my son at Nashville Airport at B&A and brought his car back.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's gone to take the car. Wait, never mind. a long story, man. I'm way in over my head on this one. But anyway.
Oh, well. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Oh, goodness gracious.
At least you're not involved.
No. No. College football has been wrangled into the mud pit of college basketball's corruption trial. And some of the biggest names in the sport were invoked on Tuesday, including Alabama, Notre Dame, Michigan, and Penn State, among others. Tuesday saw opening arguments and the introduction of witness testimony in the second of 3 scheduled trials the government has brought against key figures who are accused of fraud and bribery in college basketball. The 2 defendants in this trial, Christian Dawkins and Merle Code, were found guilty of multiple counts of fraud in the college basketball case, which concluded in October 2018. Boom, boom, boom.
Aye.
So there you go.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, an individual by the name of Louis Martin Blazer, a self-made former financial advisor out of Pittsburgh, testified on direct examination that he directed payments to football players from Alabama, Notre Dame, Michigan, Penn State, Pittsburgh, Northwestern, and North Carolina between 2000 and up to 2013-14.
Wow, that's a long span.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it doesn't surprise me none. I mean, it's...
What did Spurrier say Florida FSU stood for? Free Shoe University. And we're finding out that a lot of this is coming from shoe companies, AAU basketball.
Yep.
Yeah.
And did you see where the AAU coach from Michigan punched out the referee up in Kentucky?
Yeah.
Not a good thing.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
So,
It'll.
But
I saw a little drawing on Facebook where it had 2 little league players. One was a catcher, and the other one was another player, and they're walking off from the field, and the caption says, "It doesn't matter whether you win or lose; it's how your parents react." So,
but
a lot of truth there.
But when you look at this college entrance scandal of buying your way into college, and you're sitting there and you've got these television stars who are having people falsify the fact that you are a player of some sport.
Yeah, most of them were taking on the rowing.
Yeah.
And
never set foot in the boat.
Yeah,
some of them soccer.
Some of them soccer or volleyball.
Lacrosse or something like that.
Yeah.
Which these are great sports, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
and that's fine. But
that's
don't lie.
That's how they can kind of.
Yeah. But don't lie that your kid stars in that stuff.
Right.
But they've never picked up a lacrosse thing or whatever it is, thingy, or they ever rowed a boat.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't they just do it the old-fashioned way?
If you're going to do
give a big
that,
donation to the university, and that gets them in. It's
how
always worked.
Give them a building or whatever. But I mean, what I'm saying is, it's tantamount to paying to play.
Right.
To paying your player.
But I mean, how long has this been going on?
But they're
Who
paying.
knows?
They're paying.
It was going on when we were growing up.
Oh, I know.
It's been going on before that.
Which brings me to this. Should they go back and reinvestigate possibly paying players in college?
Well,
would it not stop a lot of this?
Now, Bobby Bowden years ago at FSU,
yeah,
he said that he believed that the players should be paid something because they bring in millions
yes,
for
they
the
do.
universities. which I can't argue that fact. My only concern would be how you going to disperse this money. Are you going to try to treat one player more than you're treating somebody else?
Kind of like they do in the NFL.
Right. I mean, and my opinion is, on the college level, and that's a big if, you do decide that it's legal to pay players, my thing, it should be across the board. Nobody gets over a certain amount, and, everybody gets the same.
Sort of a stipend.
Right.
Like, say, just for a round number, if you play football this season, you get $10,000. I'm just saying, and that's just I'm just throwing a number.
Just throwing
out
a number out, right?
Yeah,
and
because I'm not sticking with it. It could be more, it could be less.
And it don't matter if you're the star quarterback or the star running back or Joe Blow sitting the bench over here. You still gonna get.
But it's not going to cost the university that much money to do that for a team, simply because of the amount of money they bring in from television revenues and everything else. We're looking at dollars that you and I would not even fathom.
Doug Matthews said on his show a few weeks ago.
I like Doug.
That and he was just using UT
like I know
as an example.
Right.
Yeah.
But he said anybody that was on full scholarship at UT, I don't care what sport, most of that involved having Pell Grants, so forth was part of it.
Right.
But said if you watched your P's and Q's, you'd have about $2,000.
You'd have some money left over. Yeah.
And so, he said basically
you are paying them.
They are getting paid, and it's everybody is on the same level. And so,
except for your walk-on players,
right? You got to be a scholarship.
Scholarship
player. So, it's an interesting thing, and like you said, it needs to be fair and equal.
Right.
Across the board.
Across the board.
But
now,
you got to remember too.
I got to stop you.
They cannot hold jobs.
No,
I got to stop you.
Things like
I got to stop you for a second.
Yeah, you got to go
because you're the pizza guy tonight, and
well, you can see the clock.
The oven's ready.
Yeah, the oven's ready. I heard it beep. But yeah, I mean, like Chip said, if you do your P's and Q's right, you'll have about $2,000 a month left over, and so. But and here's another thing I've always had a problem with, and it's just me, I guess. But you see a lot of these guys and girls and all now that are heavily tattooed, and they're playing a sport, but yet they say they got to turn pro because of hardship or whatever. Well, they don't give tattoos away. Some no. Some of them cost several $100s to get them put on you. So where did that money come from?
Well, you got to manage, and that was when we were having this discussion once before with Maurice and all here. The service academies, and one of the reasons you see, like when they report in July, they'll have about 170, 180 out for football. Everybody is on the same program. Everybody's getting the same thing up there. Everybody had to pay a $2,000 fee. I mean, there's a $2,000 fee that you pay. Then they start getting paid. Of course, they're paid by the Army.
Sure.
And they take so much out to cover their uniforms, things like that, and then whatever they got left goes into another account and they get it. Well, if schools would do something similar, then, I think that would address this problem. I mean, they could actually look at what they do.
Then you got to, here's the big nail in the whole thing. It has to be approved by the NCAA. Or
the NCAA may end up going away because if the Power 5 conferences get together, They can get rid of the
They can
NCAA.
shut down the governing body of the NCAA.
But isn't that going to cause mass chaos at that point?
It possibly could.
It's going to be in their favor, whatever it works out, however it works out. So
I know, but NCAA's been around forever, and it is a governing body.
Yeah.
They just need to pull back the reins on the NCAA a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be some compromising point somewhere or another.
Yeah.
Question of the day. We got about 10 minutes left or so. Has Nashville sold out to the NFL?
Has Nashville sold out?
For the draft?
Every city sells out to get the draft. It's like having a presidential.
Well, you basically, for the time period that the draft is going on, yes, the NFL owns Nashville.
But then they own
a certain portion.
But what I'm saying is,
a certain portion of Nashville.
But it's like a week before and then a week after. Because downtown Nashville is basically shut down.
Yeah.
It's still.
I mean, shut down as far as being able to get in and get out.
And plus, they had to remove those cherry trees,
which is stupid.
Stupid.
Well, the bad part, they knew about that for months.
But the thing about it was they didn't find out about the cherry tree removal until 2 weeks before.
Right.
But they knew about it beforehand.
I know they did, but somebody, we won't tell anybody. Maybe they won't know.
But my thing is, why did that have to happen since the draft is being held at the Schermerhorn building?
Mm-hmm.
Indoors.
Well, you got to have a huge stage for all that, though.
You got to have all the other spots.
Then you got all your
riverfront down there.
I understand, but by the same token, they didn't know whether or not the river was going to be down because of all the flooding they've had down there.
But anyway,
I'm just playing. Hey, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Anytime you go after any kind of big event, you're going to sell out. If you want to call it that way, but you got to balance. You got to look at the balance. How much you're going to bring in? How much is going to help the businesses and so forth?
Then why is Nashville broke?
Politicians.
You can't pay. You can't pay
politicians.
You can't pay your policemen. You don't have enough policemen. You can't pay your. Well, I know why you can't pay your.
You know why they don't have enough policemen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the DA's fault.
Yeah.
And what's he wanting to run for? Because that's all political side.
Oh, I know.
But the difference is you look at, they have a full-time mayor who runs everything.
Mm-hmm.
We have a professional person that runs our city.
Well,
thank you, Tony Massey.
Thank you, Tony Massey.
You look
at where we're at in the financial situation, and yes, we did some things. We bring something in, sell your soul a little bit to get them, to come here or to do something. But I mean, that's just the way it goes. But Nashville is a whole different animal. That's just like we had the conversation about the director of schools up there.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you pay him a big buyout when you had all this evidence on it?
Well,
he broke his contract.
That's a whole new show.
That's a whole show.
We could do a whole show
sports
on education. We could do that with no problem.
Well, that's true.
With personal opinion, we need to start a second kind of show called Personal Opinion.
That's my opinion, and it should be yours,
exactly
right?
Yeah.
Or pissed off old men.
That would work. Yeah, that's right. We can just sit here and just talk all the bad stuff we want to.
Yeah, we're here to answer all your questions. May not be the right answers, but we'll give you an answer.
That's right. like Chip said a while ago.
Questions.
Well, like Chip said a few minutes ago before we went on the show, he said, I got a question. I said, well, I got an answer. It might not be the right one, but I got an answer for you.
And you said 12.
Yes.
And it wasn't the right answer.
No, it wasn't. No. But it was an answer. I gave you an answer. That's exactly right.
But you always say you answer the question.
Yes.
just like when the man called in and said, "What about schools?"
Here's no, let me give you the whole rundown on that. A gentleman called me one morning. Chip was sitting there when it happened.
And it's snowing like crazy.
This is back during my radio career. And it's snowing. And this gentleman calls me and he says, "What about Murray County schools?" And I said,
Johnny Newman. Remember Johnny Newman?
So I said, well, they're usually one story. I said, some are two, and they're usually made out of brick. Now, I've got him on speakerphone. And he says, "Smart ass." I said, "Dude, you asked me the right question. I'll give you the right answer." Then he finally said, "Well, are they open or closed?" I said, "Closed." See, that's not so hard now, is it?
Lesson learned was make sure you ask Dan
the right question.
Well, then I'll give you the right answer.
And he's correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Ask him the right question. This is also a man who called off schools.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Yes. Well, what did Dan say? He said they were closed. I guess they are.
Yeah, that's right. The one time in my career I ever closed
Powerful
schools.
man.
No.
He just made a decision when nobody else would.
Because when there's 7 inches of snow on West 7th Street, you better go ahead and close them because otherwise you're going to be in trouble.
And vehicles going every which way.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
Thankfully, mine was parked around back where I couldn't even get it out later on because it snowed so much.
Yeah.
that was after you had to go out and sweep off the dishes.
Yeah, we won't talk about that either. We'll leave that alone. In the radio career, I did have to go and do snow removal from the satellite dish. Because I would get
why
there.
Somebody didn't invent a heated dish.
Well, it could very easily.
What I did get smart in doing, was go out and get WD-40 and spray down the dish, and therefore when it
Slide
snowed,
right off.
It slid right off.
Slud right off.
It
Wouldn't
did.
stick.
It did. Wouldn't stick.
Yeah.
Lots of things I did in my radio career.
You can either put
I guarantee
WD-40 on it or Teflon coat it.
or Pam.
Bam. Yeah.
Pam would work.
I think that's what Clark Griswold invented when it was
The only reason I would not use Pam is that deer and other animals will come up and lick.
Oh,
on
they
it.
love it.
Yeah, I know.
Buttery flavor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Then I call up the satellite company and say, "Did you use the buttery flavored Pam?" Duh. Well, yeah.
Oh man.
That's a lot of fun. Anyway, I got something for you here, boys and girls. We'll round out the show with. Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown may be long gone, but Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh to stay. Seems that months after initial suggestions of a new deal between the Steelers and their longtime quarterback, both sides have agreed to a 2-year extension that will keep Roethlisberger in black and gold until 2021. The team announced today. So Big Ben is back.
I have no problem with it.
Which brings me to this. With the NFL draft coming up tomorrow through Saturday,
Yes.
what do the Titans need to do to act like a real team?
Draft a decent quarterback. Get some decent receivers. And an offensive line that can protect the said quarterback.
Yeah.
But I know.
Do you feel like though that the Titans are on a lower tier of
Than a lot of teams.
A lot of teams, yeah.
Yes, I do. I think they're in the bottom quarter of football.
So they're like where I graduated at Central.
Yeah.
My lower 20% made that upper 20% look great.
real good.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. All right. I just didn't know whether it was me.
They could start 0-4.
Because if you
Oh
look,
yeah, very easily.
because if you look at it, you've got a quarterback who can't stay healthy, that
Right.
gets knocked out that quick in any kind of game he goes into, and it's that the other team defensive wise, I'm thinking take him out,
Take him out.
get him around the ankles. He's done.
Yeah. Key on him and let's go.
Well, wait a minute. That got a defensive coordinator suspended for a little better than a year.
Well, that's because he was offering bounty. They was offering, so much money per hard tackle or, knocking somebody out of a game. Or
Well,
whatever.
that's true. Yeah.
And that's a different ball game. There's nothing wrong with telling your
No, it's
players.
still football, man.
Well, you want to hit the quarterback.
Let's see what he's made out of,
Hit the
fellas.
quarterback.
Hit the quarterback.
Hit the quarterback.
Which is what they did
And
in
I
the
think-
other league, which I
think
thought
they
was
need
fun.
Another, probably defensive tackle.
Yeah.
Somebody to help
Yeah.
them.
Definitely need that. But yeah, they got a lot of problem areas that they need to correct, and as a person, I like Mariota, but I don't think he's the answer to Tennessee Titans.
Well, when you're standing at the post-game press conference and you're saying we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this, but it's the same thing you're talking about every single press conference, then why haven't you changed that?
Right.
Why haven't you become that player that you are talking about becoming and have talked that way for the last 5 weeks?
But there again, we go back to that same thing you was talking about earlier about you can't coach the way you did
Yeah,
years
that's
ago and
true.
all that, because you got these players that the vast majority of them, I won't say all of them, but the vast majority of them, if they sign a big contract, they'll play like if it's let's say it's a 4-year contract.
Yep.
First year of that contract, they're going to play outstanding. Years 2 and 3, they're not going to put out a whole lot of effort.
Kind of like Chris Johnson.
And then on year 4, they're going to show out again, because at the end of that contract, they can be a free agent if they're not re-signed by the same team. And I've seen it happen too many times
Did
in
you
the pro
see
level.
where Chris Johnson got re-signed by the?
Yeah, for
Titans.
one day so he could
Yeah.
retire as a Titan.
Yeah.
And on that note, we're out of here, guys.
All right.
All right. Have yourself a very good evening. We will see you next Wednesday for the All the Ball Sports Show.